Good evening, Professor Davidson. For my kinship chart and family analysis, I decided to interview my coworker, Devontae Bush. Devontae grew up and was born in Columbia, South Carolina, and was born to a Jason and Vicky Bush, who also grew up in Columbia, South Carolina as well. He grew up with his three brothers, two being younger and one being older. The younger was Jaden. He was 14 years old. He's 14 years old right now. Sage, he is 25 years old right now, and Caden is 28 years old right now. His family grew up in more or less of a low-income situation. Grew up in apartments really, and both his parents worked though. But when you have three kids, as he explained to me, when you have three kids to feed and just live situations, you have to just make ends with meet, if you would. They grew up more in the public school system, and that's kind of more his family orientation. Mom, dad, three brothers, all full brothers and whatnot. Now, when it comes down to elementary, his younger years, he actually, fun fact, grew up playing physical sports, but was also shy. So he was kind of like want to go out, play physical sports, have fun, be the kid to play SAG, but he was a quiet one in the group at the same time. He grew up playing video games as well and loved watching cartoons with his brothers, mainly Courage the Cowardly Dog and Rocket Power. He ended off on a good note though. He won the 5th grade science fair for the state with his work in the hot air balloon. Transitioning to middle school, he kept the momentum going though. He played basketball and football. He was the point guard and wide receiver for his school, and he wanted to be a pediatrician and NBA player throughout middle school. He spent more time with his brothers than his friends in middle school. He kind of had more of a natural connection because he felt like he could relate to his brothers more, being the same age as well, and just natural connection. He just felt like he could trust them more and he had a better time, but they still all had the same friends group for the most part. It's just when it comes down to it, when you go home, who can you relate to the most is what he asked me. He's just like, I relate to my brothers the most. We come from the same area, we enjoy the same things, and that's just where he felt the most comfort. And it was good once you leave the house and you can hang out with your friends, but it's how you feel when you come home. Fun fact was he won a 3-on-3 state championship tournament for basketball. He won the Best Smile Award in 8th grade, and he was an AB student throughout middle school. His parents were pretty strict on behavior and academics, so it kind of makes sense as to why they had him in extracurricular activities, and he was a straight AB student. Transitioning to high school, he wasn't shy anymore. He kind of grew into his own. His grades kind of dropped to the A's and B's and C's, but that's mainly because he had to work 40-hour weeks at Sonic. He was a 40-hour per week worker as a cook. He only worked so much mainly because his family was going through health issues with his parents. So he had to work more to help provide for his family. But in the process, he got a lot closer with his brothers. Just the adversity they all went through, that brought them all closer together. And they grew up in a Christian setting, so really, with the strength of God helping them, they knew they can overcome anything, and they did. For fun, nothing new here. He played basketball, video games, and he hung out with his brothers. Like I said, they just got closer and closer as time went on, and they're still close to this day. Like I said, he didn't go out as much in high school as well. Like I said, when you're going to work so much and you have your family issues, you just want to be around your brothers, and that's what he explained to me. He wasn't very social like that. It came down to hanging out with his siblings, spending time with his parents, and academics. He had a lot to manage, and he managed it, and that's what he proved when he graduated in 2010. After high school, he kind of kept to himself. He saved his money. You never know, because the rainy day thing was kind of in his back of his mind. He started selling cars while also being a bartender at Olive Garden at the same time. So he kind of kept the same workflow going. He just replaced academics with more work at the same time, higher income. And at that point, as soon as that's more like his small life history, then we're going to move on to the second part of this observation, which would be his romantic love and marriage. He married Bria Bush, who is now Bush, but Bria Bush. The two met in 2007 on MySpace, which actually goes into the mass media section of what we're learning in in our chapters right now. They were a romantic love relationship, very common in American households. Male, female, same ethnic background. They're just your typical American love story there. Met on MySpace, and they met in MySpace in 2007, and they became married on November 21st, 2014. In that gap, they did date in 9th grade, which was 2017, but Bria ended up moving to South Carolina, and they kind of split, kind of hard when, excuse me? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say 2007, because I'm getting confused. But yeah, he moved there, and she moved there in 2007. Bria started college in 2013, and that's whenever they began to date again, and they were married the next following year. When it comes down to procreation, it would be his wife Bria and their one daughter Ava. She was born on February 28th, 2017. That really comes down. That sums up his procreation family chart right there. Daughter and wife Bria. When it comes down to his kinship chart, I'm going to go the route of Eskimo chart. That's how he identifies his family. He identifies them as aunt, uncle, cousin, daughter, mother, grandpa, grandma. When it comes down to creating that, when I'm going to sit down with him and we're going to create the portion of, he's going to explain his uncles, and we're going to create a chart together, and he's going to explain to me who exactly, he'll help me out with the chart. That's kind of where we're at right now as well. I have the diagram figured out. It's just more about making it neat and presentable to you whenever I turn it in this upcoming week, ma'am. But that's really what I've got right now. I've interviewed him. We made the rough drafts together. Not together, but I made the rough draft. I got his family history. The way I relate to Devontae, sorry. Not military setting here. Devontae, we both grew up in a low-income situation. I grew up apartment to apartment to apartment over and over. I had to work and kind of draw my academics so I could provide for my great-grandparents as they raised me. As they both gained health issues, I had to step up and kind of decide what was more important for myself. So that's kind of like a big relation that me and him have there. While he was closer to his family, I didn't have family to really grab around, so I spent more time kind of with friends and sticking to myself. But similar to him, I grew up playing video games, basketball. I'm a little better. Playing basketball than him, played basketball, and watching cartoons and whatnot. So we're very similar, but different backgrounds. Him being from an African American culture, me being from a Hispanic culture. But we still share the same value when it comes down to the kinship chart of aunt, uncle, etc. I learned a lot about him, really. I work with him every day, but there's a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know how close we connected when it came down to financial situations and our upbringing. And once he explained it to me, it kind of all came together for me. Like, there's a reason him and I connect so well. So we grew up in the same situation, just different city, different ethnic backgrounds, but same mission. So getting to interview him was great. It was a pleasure. And that's going to wrap up my current observation. But I just want to thank you in advance for allowing me to send you this video, and hope you have a great time.